Hey friends, it's Tilly, and if you're new here, I make costumes for the Red Fair, Halloween, and Comic-Cons, and I'm excited because in about 10 days we're headed to Adepticon, which is a Warhammer 40k all things Comic-Con? Is con? Yeah, I guess it's not a Comic-Con because it's based on the games. I don't know enough about Warhammer to make that distinction. But my fiance really wants to go. He's going to play in the tournament, so I am going to be making a costume for it because since I don't know enough about it, I'm hopefully thinking that I will make a costume and then people will hopefully befriend me. I'm going to be making Solitaire, which is one of the more humanoid types of characters that has a lot more fabric than it does armor, and I think it'll be a relatively easier build. So that's the plan. I'm going to start with the leggings because I always like to build from the inside out, and let's get started. For the pattern, I'm going to be using Dressmakingamore's Fawn leggings pattern. I've used a few of her patterns before, and they've always turned out pretty great, so I'm hopeful that this one will also turn out well. I've used some leggings patterns in the past that I have not liked, so I'm really hopeful that this one's finally going to be the one that I really enjoy and fit well and everything else. For the materials, I'm really excited because I got this amazing diamond pattern printed from Spoonflower. Totally not sponsored, but if you need a very specific fabric, both in material and design, they're incredible because I found this diamond pattern, it's absolutely perfect, and then I got printed on this sport lycra, so it's got a lot of great stretch. It's going to be absolutely perfect for the leggings, and I'm really excited. For the black side, I'm going to be using a 4-way stretch knit. This one is not as ideal compared to the lycra, but it's what I have on hand. I think I used it for my Sylvie cape, so it helps to reduce the waste because I can use stuff that I already have, but I'm a little worried the fabrics might fight each other a little bit because they're very different materials, but we can kind of cross that bridge as we get there. Last is going to be elastic. The pattern calls for 3/4 of an inch. I have 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Based on my last experience with the chemise where I put too big of an elastic in the casing and it caused problems, I'm now going to use a smaller elastic in the casing and hopefully that won't cause problems. But in an effort to use things I already have, this is what I'm going to use. So now that I have the materials, I can go ahead and cut them out. First, I laid out my pattern piece on the black fabric before tracing and cutting it out. Then I did the same thing with the diamond fabric. Then I overlocked all edges for both pattern pieces. Now that I have my pieces cut out, I next can put the right sides together for the legs and stitch along the inner seam. Next, I will put the right sides of the stirrup together and stitch that closed. Next, I'll take my pant legs and turn one of them right side out, and then place it inside the other pant leg, so that they're right sides together. And then I can pin and stitch the crotch by stitching this in place. I ended up changing my mind, and I'm going to swap out the elastic for this woven inch wide elastic, and next I can stitch it together to create the waistband. With the back stitched, I next can take the waistband and segment it into the side seams and the front seam, and I can place it inside the leggings and match the sides and the front and back seam to the waistband. Last, I will go ahead and take the waistband, turn it to the inside, pin in place, and then I can top stitch using a zigzag. These are the final pants, which are super exciting. I am a little sad about how they turned out, purely for a few reasons. One, they're on a mannequin and not on me because the lycra is actually a bit see-through. Unfortunately, with how much it stretches, it is showing through my skin tone to the other side. Thankfully, I'll be wearing a coat that's longer, so I can always wear like shorts if I get uncomfortable, but it is a bit of a bummer that I won't be able to use these pants really in rent fair circumstances or things like that if I wanted to be a jester. So a bit of a bummer there. The other learning factor was, I did anticipate that the lycra and knit might not play as nicely together because they are different materials, they're different stretches. That did turn out to be true. When I put them on, the knit stretched less than the lycra, and so you can even see it's happening here. Her center is kind of here, and because the lycra stretches more, the seam has floated towards the knit side. So that is not great because it just sits the entire thing off from where it should be. The other thing that surprised me was a lot of people do recommend a zigzag stitch on stretch, so I did use it for the inseam, and I kind of regret it because the stitching pulls a lot more when it's a zigzag, and so that seam is pulling because it's stretching so much. And you can see the white coming through on the lycra side from where it was printed. Good lessons learned here, a bit of a bummer overall, but I think once the entire project comes together, I'm hopeful that it really won't be a big deal. I just won't really be able to use them outside of Solitaire. Yeah, that's the project, and I hope you enjoyed. If you learned something, feel free to like and subscribe, or just want to follow along on the rest of me creating Solitaire for Warhammer 40k and Adepticon. We'll see you soon. Bye.